At my son's birthday party, my SL pulled me into the hallway and said, "You're not a real mother. You're a placeholder until he figures it out." I smiled, then took a screenshot of her texts asking me for money last year and sent it to her husband, along with her bank statements. When she showed up crying at my door weeks later, I said, "I'm still a mother. You're just a cautionary tale. I'm not Liam's biological mother. His mom, Amanda, died in a car crash when he was 4. I met Gabe a year and a half later. We took things slow, out of respect for Liam and Amanda's memory. But love doesn't always follow a schedule. We got married when Liam was 7. I moved into their house in Eugene, Oregon, and started doing the daily mom stuff. Packing lunches, helping with homework, going to parent-teacher conferences, reading bedtime stories. I never expected to replace Amanda. That wasn't the goal. But I also didn't expect the hate I got from Gabe's sister, Kelsey. Kelsey has always been extra. She's 5 years younger than Gabe and acts like she knows better than everyone. She idolized Amanda, which would be fine if she hadn't used that to make me feel like I was just temporary. Every chance she got, Kelsey would say something slick. At Christmas, "You're brave to try and fill Amanda's shoes." I don't think I could do it. At family dinners, Liam still talks about Amanda like she's the only mom he remembers. Always polite enough to sound innocent. But not really. Gabe told me to ignore her. I tried. I really did. But on Liam's 10th birthday, Kelsey crossed the line. We were hosting a party in our backyard. Nothing huge. Just close family, a few of Liam's friends, neighbors. Pizza, juice boxes, balloons. Gabe was manning the grill. I was setting out the cake when Kelsey tugged on my arm and asked to talk in the hallway. She didn't even wait for the door to close behind us. "You know he's not yours, right?" she said, arms folded, mouth twisted into a smirk. "You're just the woman making him lunch until he figures it out." I blinked. "You're not a real mother," she added. "You're a placeholder." I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just looked at her and smiled. Because I remembered something. It was last December when she came to me. Gabe didn't even know. She sent me a long, messy text at midnight. Said she'd lost her job, couldn't make rent, and was scared her husband would find out. She said I was the only one she could trust. The only one who wouldn't judge. I helped her. Quietly. I paid her rent for 2 months. She promised she'd pay me back. She never did. And she had no idea that I kept everything. The texts. The voicemail she left crying. Even her bank login info, she'd given it to me once when I helped her apply for a fast cash loan. She never changed the password. So that night, after Liam's party, after pretending everything was fine, I went into the guest bedroom with my laptop. I logged in. She wasn't broke back then. Not really. She was shopping. Clothes. Makeup. A spa day. $200 at Sephora. A fancy dinner reservation for 2. I took screenshots of everything. Then I attached them to the old texts she sent me, begging for help. And I sent all of it to her husband. Did I feel bad? No. Because that same woman had just told me to my face that I didn't count. That all the nights I stayed up with a sick Liam didn't mean anything. That the hugs, the tears, the talks, none of it mattered. I didn't hear anything right away. But a couple weeks later, Gabe told me that Kelsey's husband was living at a hotel. Said they were taking a break. Then I got a text from her. Just one word. "Why?" I didn't answer. She tried calling. I blocked her. 3 weeks after the party, there was a knock at the door. I opened it, and there she was. No makeup. Hair in a knot. Red eyes. Like she hadn't slept. She looked around like she expected someone to stop her. Then she said, "You ruined my life." I looked her in the eye and said, "I'm still a mother. You're just a cautionary tale." Then I closed the door. After I shut the door in her face, I expected that to be the end of it. But I should have known Kelsey wouldn't let it go. The silence didn't last long. A few days later, Gabe got a call from their mom. She was upset, rambling about family betrayal and how I needed to fix things. Apparently, Kelsey had gone to her parents and twisted the story. Said I had hacked into her bank account and sent private information to ruin her marriage. Left out the part where she gave me her login and begged me for money. Gabe stood up for me, told his mom the truth. But the damage was done. The next weekend, at a family barbecue at Gabe's parents' house, things exploded. It started fine, tense but civil. I brought a pie. Liam ran around with his cousins. Gabe grilled like always. Then Kelsey showed up. Late. Wearing a forced smile and sunglasses even though it was cloudy. The second I walked by her with a plate of food, she hissed, "You think you've won, huh?" I didn't respond. Just kept walking. But she followed me into the kitchen, where it was just us. She slammed her purse on the counter and said, "You want to ruin my life? Fine. Let's see what your husband thinks about you stealing from family." "What are you talking about?" I asked. Then she pulled out a folded sheet of paper from her purse and held it up. "You know what this is?" she said, voice shaking. "It's a copy of the withdrawal from Amanda's memorial fund. The one Gabe's parents set up for Liam." My heart dropped. I saw the statement, she sneered. "You used it. Took out $3,000 last year. I wonder if he knows." I didn't say anything, because I had taken it. But not for myself. That money had been sitting untouched for years. Gabe always said it was for emergencies or when Liam needs something big. Well, last year, Liam needed surgery for a dental issue. Insurance didn't cover it all. We were short. Gabe told me to use the fund. We both agreed. It was for him, after all. But now Kelsey was using it against me. "You going to tell him?" she said. "Or should I?" I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Go ahead," because I knew the truth. And so did Gabe. Still, the tension was unbearable. Kelsey kept whispering to family, pulling people aside. A few and started giving me looks. One uncle didn't say hi to me at all. That night, I asked Gabe, "Do you think they believe her?" He said, "It doesn't matter. We know the truth." But it did matter. Because Kelsey wasn't done. A week later, someone called Liam's school anonymously and accused me of using his medical fund for personal spending. The school called us in, said they had to ask questions because it involved a child's welfare. Gabe was furious. He knew it was Kelsey. We got a lawyer. Cleared it up fast. But it rattled me. It wasn't just about me anymore. She was coming for my family. I wanted to keep things quiet before. But now? Now I wanted everyone to know who she really was. So I pulled out the big one. Remember that night Kelsey asked me for money? She didn't just text. She called. Crying. Rambling. And I recorded it. Oregon's a one-party consent state. In that voicemail, she admitted everything. The job loss. The shopping. The lies to her husband. How she was screwed and didn't want people to know I did this to myself. I posted it, not on social media. I'm not stupid. I sent it to the family group chat. Then I muted my phone and waited. After I dropped the voicemail in the family group chat, I knew there was no going back. For a while, things were quiet. Too quiet. No one replied in the chat. Not even a thumbs up. Not even Kelsey. But I knew people were listening. That voicemail was almost 4 minutes long. You can hear Kelsey sobbing, her voice shaking as she admits to blowing her rent money on a trip to Napa, then crying about how she can't ask mom and dad again because they were sick of bailing her out. I didn't name call. I didn't defend myself. I just let her words do the work. Then the group started to splinter. Gabe's aunt, who always backed Kelsey, texted me separately, saying she was so sorry for assuming and didn't realize how bad things had gotten. His cousin, Brad, messaged Gabe privately and said, "We knew she was messy, but not this messy." That was satisfying. But Kelsey? She stayed quiet. Until she didn't. She waited another 2 weeks, just long enough for things to cool down. Then she launched her next move. I was standing in line at the grocery store when I saw it. A Facebook post. Long, dramatic, full of half-truths. She didn't use my name, but anyone who knew us would know who she meant. She called me a vindictive stepmom and said I was obsessed with taking credit for raising someone else's kid. She claimed I'd stolen private information and weaponized it to hurt a struggling family member. She even hinted that Gabe had no idea what kind of person he married. She included a picture of Amanda and Liam from years ago. Captioned, "Some people will never understand what real motherhood looks like." It went semi-viral in our small-town circles. Her friends shared it. A few of her high school buddies commented things like, "So sorry you're going through this," and "You're such a strong auntie." I was furious. But Gabe? Gabe was done. That night, he drove to her apartment. I stayed home with Liam, but he told me everything after. He didn't yell. He didn't get dramatic. He just handed her a manila folder. Inside? Copies of her spending reports from the memorial fund she used without telling anyone, Amanda's fund. She had touched it, too. Years ago. Bought herself a designer purse and a weekend Airbnb. Left it off the books. Thought no one would ever know. Gabe had found out when we went through the fund statements for Liam's dental bills. He saw the charges. They were buried, but they were there. Backdated. Labeled as family wellness retreat. He never planned to use it against her. But she made it personal. So he gave her the folder and said, "You want to talk about real motherhood? Real mothers don't steal from their dead sister-in-law's fund and lie about it." Then he walked out. She deleted the post the next morning. But the fallout had already started. Her landlord, who happened to be friends with one of Gabe's uncles, started making noise about missed payments. Her ex-husband filed for full custody of their dog, citing emotional instability. People started unfriending her online. One of her friends even messaged me and apologized for believing her. And just when I thought the storm had passed, I got a letter. Not an email, not a text, a real letter. It was from Amanda's mother. She and Gabe had fallen out after Amanda's death. She blamed him for moving on too fast, and we hadn't spoken in years. But this letter? It was kind. She said she saw the Facebook post and the family drama. Said she knew Kelsey could be cruel. Said she'd been watching from a distance. And then she wrote this, "I know you're not Amanda." No one is. But I also know she'd want someone like you with Liam. Someone who fights for him and loves him through the mess. Thank you for protecting him. I cried when I read it. I never needed to be his real mom. But I am his mother. And there's still more to come. Because Kelsey? She's not done yet. She's quiet, but she's planning something. I can feel it. It all came to a head one night in February. 3 months after the Facebook post, after the family had gone silent, after Kelsey vanished from group texts and parties, she came back with one last move. I was picking Liam up from school when I saw her. She was standing by the front gate, pretending to look at her phone, but I knew that stance. I knew the fake coolness. Liam didn't see her. He ran straight to me, like always, backpack bouncing behind him, face full of stories from science class. But I saw her eyes snap up when she saw him hug me. She didn't say anything then. But the next morning, we got a visit from CPS. Child Protective Services. They said they got a call about a concern regarding Liam's living situation. That someone claimed he wasn't being properly cared for, and that there was a history of emotional instability in the home. Gabe and I sat through the whole thing. Questions about our finances, our arguments, our routines. They interviewed Liam separately. They even checked our fridge and cabinets. I was shaking, not out of guilt, but out of rage. This was her last card. And it was disgusting. I knew it was Kelsey. I just didn't know how to prove it. But then Gabe remembered something. Months ago, back when Kelsey called me for help, she had borrowed my old iPad to send an email for a job application. I never wiped it clean after. I pulled it out, charged it up, and there it was. Her email was still logged in. I checked the drafts folder, out of curiosity, not hope, and found it. A draft of an email to CPS. Same wording. Same accusations. She never sent it through email, probably afraid it could be traced. But it was there. We printed it, saved it, sent it to our lawyer. And then we pressed charges for defamation and false reporting. Her own words, typed out months ago, took her down. The authorities called her in. She denied it, but the digital trail didn't lie. They had records of the call to CPS coming from a prepaid phone bought with her card. It was all there. The case didn't go to trial. She took a plea. Community service, mandatory counseling, and a permanent mark on her record. And the worst part for her? Gabe's parents disowned her. After everything came out, after CPS cleared us and saw through the lies, after they saw the full picture, they told her to stay away. You had a brother, Gabe's mom told her over the phone. Now you have a warning. Kelsey left town a week later. Moved in with some distant cousin in Nevada. Cut off all social media. I haven't seen her since. But this story isn't just about revenge. It's about truth. I made mistakes. I should have told Gabe right away about the fund money. I should have never helped her in secret. I thought keeping the peace mattered more than standing my ground. I was wrong. Kelsey made her choices. I made mine. And in the end, the person who wasn't a real mother was the only one standing when the smoke cleared. I tuck Liam in every night. I help with homework. I show up to his games. I cry when he hurts. I laugh when he laughs. No title, no DNA, no cruel woman whispering in the hall can take that away from me. I'm his mother. And she's a lesson. A cautionary tale no one will forget.